without further ado, I give you the sequel to the most popular show ever on the Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast, the Delta 3. This is the sequel. Robert Keller, Brian Gilligan, Nathan Dudley. Thanks for watching. I'm Damien Porter, former New Zealand Special Forces operator, subject matter expert from hownotodie.com.au. And you're listening to my Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast, sponsored by these guys, mystate.com, the ultimate daily formula for optimum hormone health, stress management, energy, and performance. 100% natural and clinically proven ingredients, it provides everything you need to raise your game in a convenient, gut-friendly capsule. Links for my former shows are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast. I feel like the fourth wheel here because you guys got this show. Welcome to the sequel, fellas. I appreciate you taking the time to make it happen.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us back.
And it was a blast.
Sure. Anytime I can be on the screen with these two guys.
I can't believe more than 5 people actually listened to this last time.
It was good, man.
Not because of you, because of us.
Yeah. I got a face for radio over here.
Yes. Same.
Hey,
what's been going on, fellas?
Where are you guys at now? I just wanted to quickly check in. And it's been almost a year. Bob, you got massive things going on. Nate, you're at the with the drones, and Gilly, you're looking at some tactical stuff. How's it all hanging in for you guys now?
All good on my side.
Yeah, I mean, things are good here. I'm still with Precision. We're working on some overseas contracts right now. I actually just recently started my own business, manufacturing ammunition and firearms. I just got all my licenses.
Yeah, where's my ammo, Nate?
I know. I've been looking at it. It's sitting in a box in my shop right now.
Ask them where your guns are.
Guns, yeah. I'm still waiting on my parts. So, but yeah, so I started a company, Bale Fire Defense, building precision rifles and custom ammunition, as well as some other frangible ammunition and some other stuff too. So that will hopefully grow in the next year. We'll see. It's a long process with the ATF, so it took me about 6 months to get my licenses and stuff figured out. I'm excited.
Those guys are friendly as hell.
They are. You say that, but the ATF agent here that I've been dealing with is awesome. He really is super friendly.
You're lucky.
But I was renting a house, and the owner of the house had a problem with me manufacturing firearms and ammunition in the rental house. So we had to buy a house so I could. Yeah.
I mean, like where you live, probably not gonna like that.
Well, I didn't know I had to disclose it until the ATF came and talked to me. So, and they were like, "Do you have any sort of agreement with the owner for you to do this here?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah. How about you, Gilly? Whereabouts are you at the moment, man? What's going on?
Yeah, still in North Carolina. Still training guys for the good old US of A over here. Classes are picking up, so it's been good.
Hey, Pat Mac's over North Carolina way from what I figure in Raleigh.
Yeah, so I'm probably I'm about an hour and 20 minutes away, kind of south. Yep.
Awesome. Hey, like last time we had a blast. It was really cool, and I get vets on, and we don't really talk about the war stories, the combat stories, and for some reason I thought, hey, how about we talk combat stories from you guys? So if you guys are open to share it, I've actually got questions that I wrote up. I mean, I did some preparation for once.
Nice.
Nice.
At least somebody did.
Yeah, I know, because we always just wing it.
So, boys, what was it like going from training and the training simulations to combat? How did you guys find that?
So
Yeah, go ahead, Nate.
this is an interesting question because for me,
I'm gonna make a drink real quick.
yeah, I started off in the Ranger Regiment, and I showed up to Ranger Regiment September 10th, 2011, right, and then we immediately went to war, and I didn't deploy until the invasion of Iraq in early 2003. So I had about a year and a half there. Where I just
2011. You meant 2000, right?
What's that?
You just said you got the regiment in 2011.
Oh, 2001. Sorry.
Good catch, Gilly. Good catch.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm old. I get my years confused now. Anyway, so I had a year and a half of training, and the regiment does a lot of realistic, live fire training, not as much as the unit, but a lot. And so we flew over the border, going into Iraq, and got into a crazy gunfight. Right? Like the first night, we did a super long half out to this town called New Ubaidi, out in northwest Iraq. And when we got over that town, every person was on their roof with AKs shooting at us, right? And so I was saw gunner at the time and sitting in the door of the helo, and I just started firing back, and we landed, and we were in a 3-hour gunfight. And it never occurred to me through that whole process that, like, oh shit, this is actually war, because it just the training, the repetition, the realism of the training just kind of took over to some extent. I would get, in the future on certain missions, you get a little nervous before the mission starts, but every time for me, as soon as the helo touches down or bullets start flying, you're not really thinking about it anymore. And that's because of the repetition with the training, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that, because like just on like you can't train for combat or gunfight. I don't think like you can train for the shooting part and taking the guys down, but like when it comes to like the situation on each target is going to be different all the time. Like you can't train for that. You can't train for the scenario. You can train for being the the badass fucking shooter, like the fastest and the most accurate shooter out there, but you can't train for every situation. So it doesn't matter. Like I came from Ranger Battalion, went to SF, and then went to unit. It doesn't matter what we're doing on the range, like scenario wise, it's still never going to relate to actually being on target. Like the one thing that stays constant is the shooting. Like just being the baddest motherfucker on target with either rifle or pistol. That's really the only thing that matters, because everything's always going to change, and it's going to be changing throughout the night. So like training for combat or training for a gunfight, situation wise, can that get you prepared? I actually don't think so. I think you just train for accuracy and speed, and then it's going to take over, like what Nate said. Everything with the guns is going to take over when the situation happens. But situation is always going to be different. Like you can't train for that.
Yeah.
But I think, but the more badass you get shooting wise, I think that does help mindset wise to know that you're a badass. So it takes away, I wouldn't say the fear, but a little bit of the stress. Like you actually want to be in those situations. Like, I mean, I guarantee Nate and Gilly would agree with this. Like, we don't go on target and look at each other like wide-eyed, fucking, pale face, going, "Oh my god, this is so scary." Like we're laughing at each other going into target, even though because we know that we're the baddest motherfuckers out there. No one can kill us. So, and that goes all the way back to the basics on the range, and just knowing how to shoot, like having that confidence.
Yeah, and the mindset, right? The mindset's got to be right. But like just to touch on the question there a little bit, the training definitely in all the units I've been, especially the unit, the training that you do, it sets you up for combat, obviously. So my first hit with the unit, you blow the doors in, you hit the house, you immediately get engaged in a kind of a close quarters gunfight. You do what you clear the house, you secure it. But I'll tell you right now, there was a time, you know, when all secure and we're kind of going through the house gathering stuff or whatever, that I was like, holy shit, like that was fucking for real. You know,
Yeah.
that definitely in my head, and I was like, holy
But
shit.
how?
Yeah.
But that's an awesome feeling, though, right? Like a
Oh,
lot of people, I think, would be like, "Holy shit, I can't believe I just did that." I guarantee when you said "holy shit," it was like, "Yes, like
yeah.
finally, I get to
That
do
was
like real,
awesome.
like real stuff."
And it just brought together, you know, all that training, you know, and and everybody knowing their job and doing their job, and
Yeah,
you know, you've been working together for so long, and you know, you just know each other's movements, and you know, it kind of just it goes down. But you know, there was definitely, you know, those first few hits, I was like, wow, this is this is the show right here. Yep,
this is the pinnacle, right?
yep, yep.
I'm going to ask a controversial question that I'd forgotten to write down. I slammed it down here. I was wondering if it would fit in. I think it will be very controversial. Delta versus SEAL. Now that's the context, but I think I've just finished reading Code Over Country, or reading. I can't read now because glasses suck, and,
Yeah.
and I haven't got time. So when I say reading, I'm listening to an audiobook, you know. And that Code Over Country was really saying that a lot of the SEALs were undertrained going into combat, or inexperienced in combat operations, going to Afghan, and then B, the stories you're hearing afterwards might have been a little conflated. So I've got the chance here. Delta versus SEALs training preparation. Do you think you're better prepared? Better old hands taught you how to do combat better?
Are you asking who's better or who got us prepared better,
Is Delta was
or both?
a bit of both. So I'll try and get it right, because you're asking a fireman and operator to try and do an interview. Is Delta better prepared? Has Delta better prepared you guys before your first battle? And I know you're Rangers, you two guys there, versus what you have an idea about the SEALs, the regular SEALs going into combat.
Well, I will say that, when you're talking about the regular SEALs, you're talking about a different level of capability, training, experience, So, yeah, I've never been a SEAL, so I can't, speak to it absolutely, but I would assume, just like we are better trained and better prepared than SF, Green Berets, or Rangers, or what have you, that our training would better prepare us for that. Absolutely.
But I would tack on too, though, and it, you know, it's not a ding on anybody, but you know, when you know, just like, you know, Bob and Nate, you know, they were in Ranger regiment first, right? I was in infantry, then I went SF, right? Then Bob went SF, right? So you're building all this training for war, right? You have all this experience coming from other units that you've been in, you know, whether they're conventional infantry units, or you know, Ranger regiments, or SF, you know, and then we get, you know, we bring all that with us to the unit, and then they train us in all the specialty stuff we need to know, you know. So, you know, if you look at it from that aspect, you know, yeah, I mean, and that's just because of the nature of our branch versus, you know, the nature of MOSs in their branch, you know. So, you know, that's kind of what I think it boils down to, you know.
Yeah, great answer.
I mean, I've talked with guys offline that are from our equivalent, over the Navy, and I mean, they might not say this around other people, but one on one, they'll be like, "Oh, you guys are hands down better," and it's not their fault, because you might have one guy over there that's better than every single person at the unit, but as a whole, the problem is their selection process sucks. Like what Gilly was just saying, like we'll take anyone. We'll take anyone from any branch, and we'll take anyone from anywhere in the military. You could be a truck driver and make it at the unit. So you might have that diamond in the rough that just got screwed on as a recruiter, screwed him, put him out as a truck driver. This guy is just a badass dude. that just got screwed. And now he goes out for selection, makes it through OTC. A guy who can make it through selection and OTC that hasn't come from like a Ranger Battalion or SF, that's a guy that I want on my team, because that dude is switched on, But the SEALs, it's not the individual's fault, I mean, it's the Navy in a whole and the SEALs as a whole. They only select from SEALs. Like, they're not going out and looking for other people. Like, so their pool of people is so small compared to ours. So, and then I think another thing is, because I'm asked this question in almost every class. Another difference is just the age difference. Like, I don't know what the age difference is exactly, but I mean, you're looking at the SEALs equivalent to us. I mean, their average age is probably 25 to 30 years old, where our average age is probably 30 years to 40 years old, or even a bigger difference. So it's experience level, and just thinking, the older you get, the more experience you get. So we become thinkers more, not more than, but thinkers before doing things, where when you're younger, you just do things. And I think that's a huge deal on target overseas. Like, we won't go on target unless we know we're going to win. Like, we're not just going to get on the birds and go. Like, we'll have people go to the talk and actually get with the intel guys, and we'll actually have people embedded with the intel guys too, like watching this stuff. So if it's not right, we're not gonna launch. Where other units will be like, oh yeah, here's the mission, let's go. Like, I think it just comes down to us being smarter.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it there, summing up experience, Bob, on backing up what Gilly said. Gilly literally logically outlined the reasoning why you actually a more experienced person going from an infantry soldier to, as I said, either Ranger or SF, and because just through what you've physically got to do versus someone that's gone from a boat to a special forces selection of any kind. Also, when you said, a cook or a driver, you select from anywhere. Same with all the special air service units. For us, it was actually a cook who was in for 2 years in the second year, and he invented a type of charge that we use. It was groundbreaking. I won't mention it because I still don't know if it's classified or not, but he invented it, and he was the lowest ranked guy. So how cool is that? Just because they're thinking outside the box.
That's awesome. That's exactly how it should be.
Yeah. And those units give you that opportunity, those guys from those, weird MOSs, right? To be brought to the table, to pick their brains. They have a different mindset, obviously, and like Bob was saying, the truck driver, I had a kid who is a truck driver. I went through the whole thing with selection with him. We got picked up, went to OTC together, got picked up. I served with them in squadron for a little bit. But that guy, I'm telling you, was one of the first guys in during some of the hardest days, and truck driver, so there's guys out there in every MOS that are badasses,
Yeah.
They just,
that's why I use, go ahead.
I'll say you're probably one of my best friends in the world who's still in, so I won't share his name. He was a regular infantry mortar guy. He was an 11 Charlie. I think he was in the 82nd, and he came through. And he's one of the most talented, smartest people I've ever worked with. But when we were going into Syria in 2016, we had mortars in the arms room, but nobody knew how to use them. But he did.
That's a good
So
example.
So he trained the whole squadron on how to shoot mortars, right? Because that was in his wheelhouse. And, for the first probably year, he had unit operators dropping 120s on ISIS all day, every day, just because that was his background, Yeah. And that's one of the strengths of the unit.
Exactly.
Awesome.
That's the difference.
Yeah, thanks for getting. I know I dropped a bomb. John almost dropped a grenade at you there, but you backed up with real logic and working it through. I'll move on to the combat side. Can you talked about your first one, Nate? You nailed it there, because my next one was your first gunfight. So I guess Bob and Gilly, we got ideas from you. What was your first gunfight like?
I mean,
at the unit.
for I
Go ahead, Gilly.
kind of like I look at it as two separate events because they're kind of two separate situations. But right after 9/11, I was in SF and I got put in to Afghanistan pretty early, and that was kind of that first time gunfight, but it was from a distance type thing. It was more distant stuff in Afghanistan. But I tell you what, being young and all that stuff, it had a huge effect on me. You're like, oh man, this is crazy. I'm in a trench that's, decades and decades old, sitting in the same trench that's been up there forever, and slugging it out with the Taliban. So that was kind of one instance. And then, like I touched on, and I'll go more with the unit. When I got there, my first gunfight, it was like, holy shit, it's right there in your face. Like, it's either me or him. And that is a completely different feeling. That is a completely different adrenaline rush. And it's addicting, in a sense, but that was like that, all your training kicked in, all that discipline, all those reps, and you got the job done and you kept going till that target was secure. And then you were like, woof, and, but yeah, I mean, it is a crazy, crazy adrenaline rush, which I'm sure all of us can probably, relate to, but yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Coming to you.
And I wish I would have, no one knows who I'm talking about, but Ron, like initially, who we both worked with and worked for, like he initially actually was doing a diary. And when I first got on the team, I was like, man, that's gay. Like what, you don't need to do that. I so wish I would have done that because I don't even remember my first hit with the unit.
Wow.
Like I have not even a clue what my first hit was, which that would be so awesome to be able to talk about that. But I do, like, I wouldn't even say it was a big gunfight. I had been shot at before in SF, like from afar, and I realized even from that, like not being in a gunfight, like even being shot at, like I liked it. Like I was like, I want more. Now I want to be closer in. And then like my first time actually like engaging and somewhat being a gunfight, which it actually wasn't even a gunfight. We were like on a vehicle patrol, and took contact. It was a sniper. We were actually with like a route clearing team. They I think actually one of those guys actually got shot. But that was like my first time. Like, all right, it's going down, right? And everyone was behind the vehicles. Like, all right, we're getting shot at. By the time I even knew what was going on, I was halfway to the dude shooting at us. Because like I literally couldn't wait. Like I needed to get in that gunfight, right? And of course, you got guys. This was SF. You got guys on your team. They're not gonna let you down. They're not gonna let you go by yourself. So they had to follow me. And I mean, I went into the village looking for this guy, like where he had been shooting at. Went and cleared this house, and by that time, two of the other guys had gotten to me. We actually got to blow a door to go into this place, which is kind of cool, even though he wasn't in there. But that was like my first experience. Like this is badass, right? Blowing doors, going in and clearing rooms, and it's like real life. Like people, a guy was just shooting at us. Didn't find the guy. Like not a cool story on like a badass gunfight, but that was like my first experience of actually engaging and like going after someone. And after that, it was like I want more. Like where can I go? The rest of the deployment was cool, and we did get into I'd say a fair amount of engagements, but like after that, it was always looking like Gilly said, it is addicting. Like if you are a guy that likes it, it's more powerful than a drug. Like you are like, what is the next day? Like the next day, I hope that we get into a better one. And then once you're in that one, the next day you're looking for even a more badass gunfight. And that just it keeps going your whole career. So like a lot of people, it might just be me, but when we'd come back from deployment, like that's nice to be home, but you're literally waiting for the next deployment to get a chance to get in better gunfights. And that's just how it was.
And then
And
when
I
you
think the
retire,
coolest thing, and these two are, I know these two because I work with them, so they have the right mindset. It was oh shit, now I just lost my train. God damn it. I'll think about it if you guys got something to say.
What I was
just
going to
gonna say,
ask was
retire-
if I can just interject there and add on. You've all talked about how addicting it is, and that essentially that was what you're looking to do, employ your skills. But you also said, you guys are laughing on the way in the choppers, and a lot of people won't comprehend that. So that brings me to a simple one. There is, no job's the same. Everything goes different. But what about those funny moments, those moments that you just like, you either can't believe what the hell you're seeing, or you're just cracking up because you're like, what the hell just happened?
Nate, don't talk about me falling in the hole again. We've already talked about that.
No. I just remembered the seagull that exploded all over Gilligan and Chris.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
We got to hear
But
this.
it wasn't like, I don't remember. Did we get in a gunfight that day? Was that, I don't remember if it was the day we got that, those guys running the tunnel or whatever, but
I think
didn't we think he got shot though because he had blood all over him?
Yeah. So anyways, we fly out, we do something, we're flying back, we're in a Black Hawk, and it's fucking cold. It's like January in Afghanistan, and we've got the doors closed, and we're all just sitting there flying. Then all of a sudden, Gilly's just covered in blood, right? The guy sitting next to him, Chris, and we're like, what the fuck just happened? And I look a little closer and I see feathers, right? and we're like, what? We talked to the crew chief when we landed. They're flying, and a seagull, or I don't know, some sort of big bird was flying and hit the minigun. Like, just the minigun flew right into it and exploded. It all came in the gunner's window and went all over Kelly and Chris. It was hilarious.
yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah.
I think we've talked about. Well, we might not have talked about this one. Were you guys on the one where Huggy got pinned down in front of that rock in front of the cave?
Yeah.
Or behind the rock in front of the cave? Yeah, like that's a good one. Like, talk about just funny shit and us not caring. Well, it's not that we don't care. It's just we're not scared. Like, we all want to be in the situation, right? We and literally most of the guys that we worked with didn't. You never cared if you got shot. I mean, you might think about it like, I don't want to get shot in the arm or whatever, in the leg. But it's not like you're not thinking about that on target. So there is no fear. There was one, like, so this one situation. Nate, were you on that one? And
No, I wasn't on that one.
So anyhow, we're patrolling. We're looking for these fucking dudes. And I mean, we got ISR out. They can't see anything. We actually even had the remote helicopters. The drones.
Drones.
Nate would, we could have used your shit. Probably got better stuff now. We actually had those things looking, because we're like on the side of mountains looking for these guys, and no one could see where they're at. But we're on the same like mountain that they released us where they were last seen. So we're patrolling through this on the side of the mountain. All of a sudden, me and Huggy, and I don't know where you were, Gilly, but I think we were like point. And all of a sudden we start taking rounds. I mean, we're just getting freaking shelled. But we have no idea where it's coming from, because they were in a cave, but we couldn't see the cave.
Well, we were on the behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
An egg.
I don't know if we were beside it, behind it, but we had to have been like behind or in front of it, because like both of us started taking rounds. Well, that's a judgment call, and there is no right way. You never know what's going to be the right way to go. Well, I decided to go right, like towards the fire, which that might have been a wrong decision. In that case, it was the right decision. Huggy went left, and he goes down the mountain, gets behind this rock. Well, the rock ended up being like right in front of this cave. And so I went right. I think all of you guys followed me. So we went right. Yeah. So now we're like beside the cave or behind the cave.
Yeah.
So we're out of harm's way, right? Because they're in a cave. They can't shoot behind. They can't shoot to the side. Well, Huggy's pinned down behind this rock, which this has happened multiple times too. Like when you got pinned down in front of the door, Gilly, that was a good one too. But anyhow, so like Huggy's pinned down behind the rock. And he's every once in a while, whenever he tries to move, they start engaging him. So he's stuck behind this little rock. And like all of us, like you'd be thinking, most people be like, oh shit, Huggy's fucking screwed. I mean, we're literally laughing back there and on the radio, like laughing to him saying, don't worry about it, Huggy, we'll get you, eventually. And so he was stuck there until we actually did something. And we got the guys out and drilled the dudes. But like that was.
Yeah, but you remember how that happened though? That was even funnier. We basically did like a countdown and we fragged that cave, remember?
Yeah.
And Huggy was able to pull back, and that guy came running out.
They both came running out. I was on top of the cave shooting basically upside down at these motherfuckers. And then we had Simon that was all the way, he had climbed up the mountain that could look into the cave. So, he claims to be the fucking shooter. All of us claim to be the shooter. But I mean, these guys came out, we dropped them. The funny thing about that too is
pretty sure I shot him.
Right, yeah, that's what everyone was saying. But right when they came out and we dropped them, it was on it wasn't a sheer cliff, but it was a mountain. So their bodies just go limp right after we shoot them. Well, they just come tumbling down the mountain. Like, I mean, dead bodies going down the mountain. We're all like, oh, laughing, thinking that's funny. But right when they got down the bottom, and it was getting close to dark. We're like, son of a bitch, someone's got to go down there and SSC these guys. So we had to set a team all the way down there to search the bodies and then come all the way back up this mountain to get exfilled. It almost makes you like, maybe we should have just taken them alive. I mean, it was such a pain in the ass to go down there. But, I mean, the whole point of it was like Huggy's pinned down. He's getting rounds, at him every time he tries to move, and he definitely wasn't scared, but it was just funny. All of us were laughing at him on the radio saying, yeah, no, it's no big deal, Huggy, we'll get you out when, eventually just sit tight. Which that happens not nightly, but I mean, every deployment, something like that happens where dudes are laughing at each other on target when it's like a really serious situation. But to us, it's not, I wouldn't want to say it's a game, but it kind of is just a game to us. Like we don't care if we get killed or if we get shot, that's what I was gonna say with these two. They probably feel the same way. I mean, it's addicting, but it's exhilarating to be around other, like a whole troop of guys that don't give a fuck if they die. Like how can you not be motivated by that? Like when you're coming on target and getting RPGs and small aims fire shot at you, and no one on the bird cares. It's like, all right, we got a mission to do. No big deal. If we get shot, we get shot. Who cares? I mean, it's cool to look around the bird and to not see people freaking out. So, again, just the right people for the job.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. If you don't have that humor, we're screwed. And then so that would be terribly negative. But then the other side of it is super positive, and people that haven't been in high performing teams, they don't quite get that. But yeah, if you can't laugh at yourself, and basically if you're not dead, you still have a laugh and pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and carry on. Yeah.
Now the only time that it would be all business is obviously on them hostage rescues. That was always dudes are super dialed in. There was no screwing around. It was all business on something like that. But the everyday, Iraq, we're going after HVIs, all that. Afghanistan. Yeah, I mean, like we can probably all say some of the best times of our lives. Definitely some of the worst, but probably more of the best times of our lives. Doing that shit. And just a lot of laughs, a lot of.
Absolutely the best times. But it's funny that Gilly says that. Like, look at his perspective, which is awesome. Like hostage rescue, we're switched on, right? But then any other target, it's just a normal day, and that is kind of how it is. It's just another fucking hit, which most people like. Wait a minute, you have a chance to die every day, and it's just another hit. But that's how it is at the unit. It's awesome.
We do multiple a night, back in the day, go out and hit friggin', you might do 3 targets a night, maybe another one going into the morning. You ain't getting back till after chow, So it's
Yep.
like it multiple, hits a night,
Yeah, and like, I mean, I remember at one point we'd count the days that we didn't get in gunfights.
Yeah.
You know, because like that's why you're there, right? Like so that's the one reason I never liked Afghanistan, right? Because gunfights, they were different there, but they were fewer and further between. Even super busy trips, but like Iraq 06, 07, 05, like you're going out and getting in gunfights every night. And that's what you're there for, right? Like if you're not doing your job, just sitting around at the pool and working out, like you can go fucking crazy doing that.
Yeah, 100%. What's
Well-
some crazy stuff you guys are seen on target? I can only relate with the fire brigade. We see stuff that, and same deal. You see stuff nobody else ever get a chance to see because you're on that scene and nobody else sees it apart from 2 guys, 3 guys, whoever's there. So what's some stuff that you just went, man, that just blows my mind,
Oh,
That's a good one.
tough one. I don't even know want to talk about half the shit that I was like, wow, I can't
Yeah.
believe that.
So in Afghanistan, there's a very, very high rate of mental retardation, right? Like extraordinarily high because
It sounds like it's
inbreeding,
going
bunch of other
at a
stuff,
crazy
right?
place.
Yeah. So how they deal with retards there is they put a bed outside and they chain them to a post. Like this isn't a joke, right? Like they just chain them up like it's Sloth from the Goonies outside. So like early on in Afghanistan, we didn't realize this. And I personally have gotten in like at least 5 fist fights with retards that were chained in the yard because they didn't listen, they didn't know what was going on. They're not armed, so I'm not going to shoot them, but they're non-compliant. And like saw this all the time, and it was like retard strength is a thing. I'm not kidding you. It would
How
take 2 or
about-
3 guys to
How
subdue
about,
these
how about
guys.
we get mentally disabled? That's probably
Mentally
Yeah,
disabled.
Nate is not being politically correct right now.
Sorry. Well, I grew up in a time when you actually called retarded people retarded. It wasn't an insult, like, like I'm just not,
That's
haven't
probably going to be cut out of the show,
adapted
Nate,
to that.
or whatever.
Probably. Yeah, but that to me, that's still one of the craziest things. Like that's how they deal with mentally disabled people is they chain them up outside.
Wow. Yeah, people haven't been to the places we've been, haven't seen the things we've seen. They just don't get it. It's a different world when you're in those different cultures of different countries.
Yeah. No, I got one story that that kind of blew my mind. And it was when I was in special forces and I was put into Afghanistan early on, and we had a bunch of teams that kind of taken condos, and we had like a safe house in condos, and we got some med supplies flown in, and me and my team sergeant were taking them by ATVs over to the clinic, and we're hauling ass down the road to go to the clinic, and I'm behind my team sergeant, and I look over and there's a bunch of kids, and some of them are waving, and then I see this, some of them weren't waving, and then I see this kid, and I just focused on him, but I saw his arm go back, and he throws this rock, and I swear to God, I saw that rock leave his hand all the way to busting my eye open right here under my cheekbone. I like off the throttle, my eyes were like, I'm like, oh my God. I got blood all down my face. My team sergeant's still going because he doesn't know what the hell happened. So I'm like, catch up to him. And, he's like, holy shit, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, we go back to the safe house. One of our big, bodyguard guys that was guarding one of the generals we were working for, good guy. And he's like, he could speak a little bit of English. And he said, Mr. Bryan, he said, what happened, and I was like, some little kid, threw a rock and hit me in the eye when we were delivering supplies. And he looked at me and he was like, he gave me the wait a minute, and he left. And then 3 hours later, he finds me and he's like, Mr. Bryan. And I said, yeah. He said, can we talk? I said, sure. He said, I have found him. And I said, you found who? And he's like, I have found the boy. His mother said, take him, do what you want. And he's like, what do you want me to do? And I looked at him like, what do you mean? What do you want me to do? I'm like, I was like, tell him I'm just delivering stuff, I'm like, tell him I'm the good guy, tell him not to do that, whatever. And he looked at me, he's like, okay. And he
You
walked
should have
away.
beat his ass.
But that was like the end of it. Like, I was like horrified. I was like, what? And you have like the power over me that I could have just, said whatever. I'm like, Jesus. I mean, it blew my mind when, the guy told me his mother said, take him,
Oh,
do what you, do what you want,
the value of
Yeah.
life. The value of life there, right?
For people that don't know how it is over there, it is crazy how, like, human life to them is not like it is here. Like, if you kill a cow or a goat overseas, they care more about that than they care if you kill an individual. I mean, straight up.
Yeah.
Like, because we'd have to compensate people for, goats or cows or pigs or whatever they got shot, or not pigs over there. But
Yeah.
it was.
But if
I
you
thought
shoot
that
the
was
dad,
weird.
they don't care.
I thought that was so weird. They never question us killing people, but if a goat or a cow got shot, they're like, oh, you need to compensate us. Like, that blew my mind, not knowing the culture, like, early on. I didn't know that's how it was.
I got to tell you about shooting a cow, because it reminded me. I haven't remembered the story for years. It must be the same as you guys. When somebody remembers something. So we're in East Timor in 2000, and we do like a 5-day, 5-day covert patrol. Go back to the fire base, do an overt hearts and minds patrol, just for day patrols, and then 5 days QRF. And during one of these the overt patrols, the hearts and minds, the village has said, oh, would you kill one of our cows for us? Because you got these guns, it's a lot easier, and they're way over there. Could you kill one of our cows? I mean, I'm young and like lowest ranked private, so I don't even know if they're there fucking cows. But the section commander has been talking to him, right? And we line up like an ambush. There's a section of us, 10 of us, and we pick the cow, and we're all laid down, and we're thinking, one shot, one kill, no problem. We've seen the movies. It's easy. We got 5, 5, 6, and bang, nothing happens. Bang, nothing happens, and everybody just starts hosing, and this cow just starts running. It started off at like 50 meters, and it's fucking gone. It's like at 200 meters, 300 meters. We go, what's going on? And I think eventually it drops finally, and they all go running over with the machetes. But what the hell just happened? They just putting holes in the thing, full metal jacket.
Yeah, bullets don't work as good as the movies show.
Oh.
So yeah, I got a crazy one, and it goes against leadership and just how politically bullshit it got over there. And I think that this had to have been Afghanistan. I don't know if you guys run this hit or not, or if you experience this, but so it has nothing to do with like craziness on gunfighting and infill, exfil stuff. We literally did a hit on one. I think it was just one house. So in this village, after doing the hit, so we blow SIMO doors. So when we blow SIMO doors, all the windows break, doors break. We go in there, we fuck shit up, right? Not on purpose, but I mean that's just how it has to be. And after we called clear, we get the call on the radio. You need to clean up the target. Were you guys on that one?
No.
So you didn't
God.
experience that? Yeah. This is a fucking true thing. So the unit on target just got done doing an HVI hit. Before leaving, we had to grab brooms and sweep up the floors, all the glass that we broke, and clean the house up. It was almost surreal. Like we thought it was like, is this a practical joke? Like there's
Someone
no way that
fucking with us?
they're. I mean, we just got done going after an HVI. Like there's like the longer you stay on target, obviously, the longer or the easier it is for people to maneuver and you know get set up. Like you want to exfil. We were literally sitting there with brooms cleaning the glass up floors. I mean, it was unbelievable. I think that so you guys might not have been there. Gilly you might have been doing selection, and
Yeah.
Nate, you might have been gone. So I think that was when I was a team leader, and I was like, it's time to go. Like if we're at this point, like they're making us clean up targets, you know, and then you had to like have them sign off, like, all right, we blew this many doors. This is how much more we're gonna pay you for this door and this window and all this stuff. I mean, so it's like the crazy stuff where most people would think because we like gunfighting. So I can't even think of like crazy gunfights because they weren't crazy to me. The crazy stuff to me, and just like the other two, they didn't. It was nothing about gunfighting. It was just weird stuff, right? Like that's the crazy stuff you see on target.
Yep.
The stuff you wouldn't think about. It's not like the non-gunfighting stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to ask one more kind of maybe a tactical question, or maybe it's tactical. I'm not sure, but
Ooh, that's Nate. That's Nate.
was he the one that always looked good? Was he?
That's a
negotiable.
good thing, Nate. You were being progressive back then.
So, when you rolled into a hit where you got a blow in and things that's close quarters, did you ever have to use your secondary weapon and or go to hands? I mean, Nate, you talked about punching on with a guy that was chained. I'm not sure if that counts, but did you have to roll in and ever have to use your secondary weapon and or did you have to use hands? And I might ask a follow-up question for the hands.
The hands definitely. You know, and that's basically because, you know, you either you blow in the door or whatever, you go into a room and there's a dude like literally, you know, you cut that corner and he's right there. And for whatever reason, you know, you can't, you know, you don't know if the dude's a threat, right? Because he doesn't technically have a gun. He's not technically fighting you. You just ran into him, right? So, you know, automatically, you know, yeah, you got to put hands on him. Usually, sometimes if you can, you try to sweep them into the center of the room and keep going. So, you know, everybody can collapse their sectors and get to where they need to go. Sometimes you end up balling that dude up and you take him to the ground, you know, give him a couple of quick ones and make sure he's not fighting, you know, and then just kind of stay on him until everybody else secured the room. So yeah, situations like that, you know, I think probably most of us have run into doing CQB, but.
Gilly, when you're giving them a couple of quick ones, is that tuning them up a little bit?
Yeah, you could be tuning them up a little bit. Yep. I mean,
Stop
not, you know,
resisting.
make sure, you know, because you don't know, right? I mean, you're coming in there looking for a guy, so you're not there to selling something. So
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
Until they.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had to use my secondary weapon. I know a lot of guys haven't, and that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, put hands on guys, yeah, constantly, because a lot of times, like you'll blow a door off, you'll come around the threshold, there'll be a dude right there. He's not a threat. What's that? Yeah. He's not a threat, but he's freaked out, right? Like I've had guys grab onto me. I've just kind of run over dudes, and you know they might have been grabbing me to not fall down. I don't know, but you get in those situations. You know, there are a couple of situations where I had the distance to actually barrel check somebody were a lot easier to deal with, but those situations where they can get inside of your rifle are they're hairy, we'll say. And yeah, you end up at some point on the ground with this dude and you're just hitting him, trying to stop the situation.
Yeah, it's good to hear. It's good to hear that both of you say that because I'm always asked that too, and I don't. It happens so fast. Like when it comes to grappling or to being, do you need to be an expert boxer? Do you need to be an expert grappler? That's the same thing Nate and Gilly just said that's happened to me as well. You come in, you blow the doors, you come in, and all of a sudden the guys right there. I mean, to me, I mean, not if I'm not shooting the guy, he's not a threat. I don't see anything in his hands. It is kind of fun because I mean so I'm a 230-pound dude with another 100 pounds of kit on me. You know, that's 330 pounds of force coming into the door. There's been times where I haven't had to grapple him to the ground. So people always ask me, do you have to grapple? Most of the times I came in, it was just me plowing him over, like Nate said. Like
Yeah.
you are going to your point of domination or clearing. You have to clear that room. If someone's in front of you and they're not a threat, you're not shooting them, they have to move somehow. Well, when you have 330 pounds of force coming at them, a lot of times they are getting thrown across the room. You know, and that's, even though he's not a threat, like we can't take that chance, right? So I mean, that does, for like going hands on. To me, it was more of plowing the guy over just so I could clear the room. It was never that. I never had a situation where I had a guy resist to where I had to actually, you know, hold him on the ground. So
Right. And the
might be
point is,
different for everyone, but
you get to that point and some dude's wrestling and you need to like, you know, start grappling or throw
that
a
would be different. Yeah.
your buddies that are in that fucking room, they probably would have already maneuvered on that guy and put a bullet in him, right? Because
Yeah.
we're not going to sit there and you know, play wrestle in there. Now, if you're in there by yourself, which could potentially happen, you could be wrong yourself because you shouldn't be in there, you know, by yourself.
But it happens.
Yeah, but you could also miss something on the clear and the back clear, right? And you're kind of going through the house SSE in it, and then all of a sudden some dude pops out, right? And it might just be you in the room. So I think any type of a technique out there is going to help you regardless. You know, I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be like, oh, this one over that one, or you know, I think they would all help you. I mean, you know,
Yes.
it's like shoot,
Yeah.
you know, being
Fighting with kid on is that doesn't translate to jujitsu and Muay Thai and shit like that, right? Like in the end, as long as you know how to strike, you'll be okay.
I love that you
Up
said that.
close.
I love that you said that, because that's actually where this one came from. So in the regiment now, it was the group when I was there. We do our close. That's actually called close quarter battle. There's different terms. Our actual guns on is called room combat. It's just terminology, but our basically unarmed and armed combat was done by one instructor, and it's European close combat. You know, chin jab, what you saw in World War II, Fairbairn and Sykes, and Applegate with it. You guys would know. You know, chin jabs, leg strikes where you're kicking the foot and kicking the leg and basic stuff. But he was telling us a story on our course. He was saying a Delta guy, and you know, a Kiwi civilian who teaches us, I was like, grain of salt, right? He was saying one of the Delta guys was going in clearing a room, and he went to pull the trigger. It's gone click, and the guy was so close he couldn't pull a secondary. He said he just chin jabbed the guy and stepped forward, and he didn't think about it. And he looked back and he said the guy was lying face down, but his head was twisted, his face was lying face up. So he had no idea it would work. He just went back to his training, just chin jabbed this guy as he was going through. And that's where that one came from. You just said, Nate, you know, any kind of basic strikes, it doesn't get more sort of basic than that. And it is not, we don't do jujitsu when you got all their gear, because you can't move like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, it's got to be basic movements. I mean, you can't even, you know, box with all that shit on, right? You got a rifle hanging off you. You got all your kit, charges, whatever. You can't box. You know, you can't do karate. You know, you can't sit there and waste time trying to, you know, put a, you know, some kind of, you know, jujitsu or whatever on the ground. You know, it is got to be those deliberate strikes. You know.
Yep, I agree with that. Because I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before going into the unit, and we do it at the unit. There's trainers there that you can do MMA stuff with and roll, and not that I ever did that, but before I somewhat knew what I was doing BJJ, but did I ever have to use it on target? Fuck no, dude. I am coming in hair on fire at 340 pounds.
Yeah.
Like if someone's in front of me, I'm fucking plowing them over. Like I'm not gonna waste the time to be like, oh, I I got to do an arm bar. I got to fucking choke this guy out. I don't have time for that. I got to clear the room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's not to devalue in that training, right?
No.
Because I'm sure somebody
They're
that's a
absolutely
Brazilian
not.
Jiu-Jitsu black belt and a Muay Thai black belt could probably have dealt with that situation more efficiently than me.
yes.
But the fact of the matter is, if you can strike, that's what it's going to come down to, and that's what you need to know.
Yep. Agree.
Awesome. Thank you, gents. Look, we're coming up to wrap it up. I appreciate you taking the time again, and it's great seeing you all together. It's just brilliant hearing stories, as always. And it's the first sort of combat one I've ever done, and I thought you guys would. Thank you for doing the honor of coming on. I started to start.
We could talk for another 3 hours, so have us on again.
Yeah, but it's like herding cats as well. Come on, to get you guys together.
I know
It is.
How about that? Like we organized this twice over probably a 3-month period, and almost at 12 hours out, I almost screwed up the time because of daylight savings. That crazy thing.
Right. It's always something.
Yeah. I started the show with a check-in of how you guys are going and where you're at. But there's always new listeners, and I'm there to share your story, not to blab on about me. So could I start with Gilly, roll up to Nate, and finish with you, Bob? Just what you're doing, sort of business-wise, if this can help people know more about where you guys are at.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I retired. I mean, officially Christmas Day 2017. So I've done contracting work, for private companies that train, law enforcement, other military units. So I've been doing that. And then I linked up with another private company that kind of trains guys for doing government stuff. So, it's been good. I don't have my own gig. I enjoy my free time. And then when I got classes in, I, put my stuff on again and feel relevant and go do some shooting and CQB and teaching the next generation of guys, so
Awesome.
It keeps me going.
And wasn't it so relevant teaching the next generation of guys just over in Nashville the other day? Wasn't it so relevant that those young guys had skills?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Badass.
They moved to the fire. They didn't get bogged down by every single door, every single window. They kind of knew the last known, and they made their way up there.
Saved lives.
Great job.
And
you just spoke up a bit there, Gilly. We'll wait for you to come back with some good reception. Nate, you said you're at Precision, and that's the drone side of things.
Yeah, so I'm the executive VP at Precision Integrated Programs. So we're a UAV service company. We do ISR support for overseas customers, military, governments, a lot of domestic wildfire fighting as well. Been here since, say, November of 2020. Great company, great gig. And then I recently just kind of started my own side thing where I'm building custom rifles as well as custom ammunition manufacturing. The website for that's balefiredefense.com. It's not a great website, but it'll put you in contact with me. I'm not a web designer. And then flyprecision.com for the drone company as well.
Awesome. Looks like Gilly's back, which is good. I know you're in a tough reception place there.
Way to go, Gilly.
Oh, good.
I must put you in touch with the fire brigade stuff. You reminded me last time. I don't know if I followed through on that, but I've got the note there for the drones for firefighting. I will definitely make a connection there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And Bob, Gamut, looking great with what you're doing.
Gamma Resolutions, that's on the shooting side. So I provide shooting instruction for civilians, law enforcement agencies, military. You can find all the information on that on gammaresolutions.com. I am, I think, labeled in the industry as the basics guy. Like I train the basics. So these two guys that are with us right now, they have done the shit, right? And including me. And I think I believe the only thing that matters is the basics on the shooting. So I don't fault them from that. On my shooting instruction, there's no wazoo classes where it's doing crazy stuff just to sell a class and make people happy. I've literally trained the basics and the fundamentals in all my classes. So you can find me there on GameResolutions.com. And we also, if there's any viewers close to Florida or in Florida, also have a range facility in Fort Meade, Florida, and that is a membership only range. And we have over 20 ranges now that you can be a member at. Pretty cool facility. They Nate and Gilly came down there and did a video shoot out there. So they've seen it. It's gotten a lot bigger since they were here. So that's the other thing I'm doing is the range facility.
Awesome.
How far out can you get at your range now?
We're still at 135 yards, but now that we're done with the county, hopefully no one in the county is listening to this. We'll have a lane that you can at least push out to 350 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sucks for like long range guys, but there's another range close by that if that's your thing, I can refer you to that place.
Yeah.
I actually interviewed a Floridian, a Canadian in Florida the other day. She's at a facility down there. I'll definitely connect her with you and she can get down and put some rounds down.
Yeah.
Boys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this off differently. I'm going to hit pause and leave you guys to it if you guys want to connect, because I think I've got the vibe that you guys didn't get the chance to connect all the time. So if you guys want to do that, the opportunity's there. Thank you so much for coming on again. Thank you for sharing your stories, and it's just really cool to see you guys in good places and to at least give the listeners and the viewers a little taste of what it's like in your world. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate you having us on so we can actually fucking contact again, because we don't ever talk to each other.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit pause on the record and I'll take up my video and my audio and I'll leave you guys to it. Thank you so much. And it's been an honor to connect with you guys again.
Perfect.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
Right on. Hi. Thanks for watching. I'm Damien Porter, former Special Forces operator, and check out my new project for 2023 at hownottodie.com.au, where I've combined all my Special Forces training and police officer experience to help others. Thanks for watching.